Good evening. It's 6 p.m., and I'd like to call the order of the regular meeting for the Plainfield Township Board of Trustees to order for February 9th, 2026. Tom Coleman is absent tonight. I need a motion for President Pro Tem for tonight's meeting.
I would make a motion for Sue Morrow to be our President Pro Tem.
Second.
Second by Jack. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Have the seat.
Good evening. We'll call this meeting to order and ask Kathy Beatty to lead us in prayer, and then please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Sue. Would you pray with me, please? Father God, we come before you needy. We need your wisdom, your spirit. Father, may we be peacekeepers. May we be instruments of your peace in a world that's facing a lot of dissension. God, we need you, and we are foolish to think for one moment that we don't. We need your wisdom. Help us with the decisions tonight. Help us to love each other, to support each other, and to do what is right for this community. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing on our agenda this evening is a presentation of the firefighter badge pinning ceremony, and we'll turn it over to our fire chief, Kyle Sabota.
Good evening, board. I think that's on. There we go. Good evening, board. Members in the community, Brian's family, team behind us. Appreciate you having us up here tonight to do a badge pinning for Brian. It's great to have an opportunity to come up here and show all the great things that we are doing at the firehouse and recognize our members that are going through different promotions throughout ranks. So a little bit about Brian. He's been with the department for over 10 years. He brings a wealth of experience from building fire trucks. We snuck him from another company that built fire trucks to actually riding on fire trucks and driving fire trucks. And he thinks outside the box, and I think in today's modern fire service. So since being hired, Brian has demonstrated unwavering dedication to Plainfield Township, professionalism, humility, and a strong commitment to the residents and visitors of Plainfield Charter Township. So as a fire chief, I see a lot of great in him as a team member, and I think it's awesome to see him make a transition to a career in the fire service at this time in his life. It's great to see that, and the fact that he brings great customer service to our community is even higher on my list of reasons why we should bring him on. So Brian, at this time, I'd like to ask you and your mother Pam to step forward. You come right up front here. Hi, Pam. I don't think we've met. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, well. So I got a couple things to say, and then I'll have you go ahead and badge pin on him here in just a minute. So, Brian, it's vital for you to understand that this new role is important to the success of meeting our community's expectations. In addition, our members have expectations for you as an equipment operator, and they are as follows. We expect that you lead by example and foster teamwork, exercise self-discipline and drive your own success, prioritize safety in all actions, take ownership and celebrate the resources that we have in an organization, demonstrate excellence through critical thinking, and be proactive and drive positive change in our department and in the community. The leadership team has faith in your abilities to meet these expectations, and so thank you for stepping up to the occasion. Pam, please go ahead and badge your son. That was his job. We've got emergency crews here if we need it too. There you go. Thank you. I now like to invite the clerk, Steve McCullough, to come up and formally swear Brian in.
Hey, Brian. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brian Mork, do solemnly swear
I, Brian Warwick, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of equipment operator
that I will faithfully execute the duties of equipment operator
and affirm my unwavering commitment
and affirm my unwavering commitment
to the mission,
to the mission,
vision, and values
vision, and values
of Plainfield Fire Department,
of Plainfield Fire Department,
working together as the team,
working together as a team,
united in purpose and dedicated
united in purpose and dedicated
to the community we serve.
to the community we serve.
Congratulations, you are hereby sworn in as equipment operator with Plainfield Fire Department.
Brian, would you like a second or two to get the pictures? Because they were getting your back. Would you like something with the front with your family or something? Real quick. Okay. Okay. You're welcome. We'll open the floor now for public comments. The following are the rules for public comments. The comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and there is a countdown clock on both screens so you can check your time, and when your time is up, I will inform you. No individual may speak more than once. Public comments are not question and answer period. Please be respectful of others. No abusive, obscene, or irrelevant comments will be allowed. If you wish to make a comment, please remain seated, raise your hand, and I will acknowledge you when it's your turn. Before making any comments, you will need to state your name and address for the record. Is anyone here tonight who would like to make public comments? Mary? Address, please.
Thank you. My name is Mary Murphy. My address is 4880 Weber Court. I'm here tonight speaking as a constituent. I'm here because I am personally offended and deeply concerned by a series of public Facebook comments made recently by trustee Robert Remiga in response to local protesters and community members. These comments were not private. They were made on public pages, visible to residents of this township, and they included language that I believe is demeaning, dehumanizing, and inconsistent with the responsibility of representing an entire community. I want to be clear that I understand and respect that elected officials, like all citizens, have constitutional protections around free speech. I also understand, as the township superintendent has confirmed, that the township has limited authority to regulate a trustee's private speech. However, free speech protections do not eliminate accountability to the public. Trustees are directly responsible to the residents they represent for their actions, speech, and behavior. Plainfield Charter Township has adopted a mission and guiding principles that emphasize integrity, professionalism, respect for individual differences, and transparency as the foundation of public trust. As a resident, I take those commitments seriously. What I am asking tonight is not for censorship and not for punishment outside the law. I am asking that the board to respond as a governing body to conduct by one of its members that many residents reasonably find inconsistent with those stated values. Specifically, I am asking, how does this board address situations where a trustee's public conduct undermines public trust, even if it is legally protected speech? What expectations does the board have for trustees when they speak publicly in ways that reflect on the township as a whole? And how can residents have confidence that the township's guiding principles are more than aspirational words when concerns like this are raised? I am raising this concern here in a public meeting because that is the appropriate channel available to me as a resident. I trust that other residents will evaluate this conduct for themselves, and I ask the board to take this concern seriously as part of its responsibility to the community. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone? Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Thank you. Do you want to put that over there?
Robert Reister, my property is 8325 Pine Island Drive, Northeast, and I'm here to object and oppose these proposed amendments that you want to make to the private road ordinance, which will be introduced tonight. Owning land there, we have a private drive to be used by us, which was paid for by us, is maintained by us. And right now, the way the ordinance is written, they would require the signatures of all of us to allow commercial vehicles, which will probably destroy the private drive. It's just a gravel drive. And now there are changes being quickly fast-tracked that have been will be introduced tonight. And according to our attorney, this is to permit Verizon to drive their trucks over our private road to construct a cell tower, which they've been after. And this would negatively affect all the landowners that have, built and maintained that road. And we should at least require the signatures of approval from the people that have paid and built this road before it's used for commercial interests. Thank you.
Thank you. You can speak next, please.
Is this on? It's on. Hi, I'm Joy Edwards at 8319 Pine Island Northeast, and we are discussing and talking, the next few people, about G on your agenda, which is the first reading and authorization of amendments regarding emergency vehicle driveway access, and changing some verbiage or adding verbiage. You might know that we have lived and paid taxes in our township for over 35 years. You might know that we have followed all township guidelines and past regulations, such as paying for the extra fire lane that was required from the fire department, and added crushed asphalt, gravel, and graded several times over the years. You should know that the next additions or tweaks to the township private road agreement are directly due to the Verizon tower that we object to on the areas that we're talking about. It is a residential area. 5 out of the 6 residents do not want it. And it was visually proven that 0 out of 24 towers are placed in commercial areas. So we feel that this tower should be placed in a commercial area, which would alleviate all the concerns about a public-private road. Please respect our majority rule of law and our research into the alternative placement where no shared agreements, wetlands, or houses would be a problem. And I know it doesn't look like it directly aligns with what G says, but the language that you're expecting to add were omitted in your previous booklet. And by doing this, then the township can decide that the Verizon tower can do what they want back there. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Over here? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, down in the center, please.
I am Dennis Buttermore from 3515 House Street. I've lived here for 40 years. I moved here to get away from city traffic and noise and what have you. You have issued permits for Third Nature and whatever the distillery's name is to have outdoor music. I have talked many times with somebody here to put an end to this, and with no luck. I thought maybe if I saw you in person, maybe something could be done, but I'm not holding my breath. You know, I was told they'd only have acoustic music. That wasn't true. They've had several full bands in there. I just feel that if they're going to have music, it should be indoors, that we shouldn't have to put up with it. You know, they're making money. I don't know what you get for a permit, but you're possibly making money, and then we're the ones that have to pay for it, just giving up our peace and quiet out there. So far, I've followed none of the notes I've written down. But, you know, and I looked at the noise, unlawful noise prohibited, it shall unlawful for any person or legal entity to create, assist creating a permit. The permit contains any excessive, unnecessary, and unusually loud music. So from what I see, it's illegal to give them a permit to do it. If I'm wrong, I don't know, but I'd like that to be looked at, please, and I'd like it to be eliminated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, Doug Edwards, 8315 Pine Island Drive. Thanks for letting me speak tonight. What is being proposed in Chapter 28, Code of Ordinances, Article 5, private roads, isn't typical. The company and I that I work for, we sell more land in Michigan than any other company for the past 30 years and have never come across any sort of ordinance that you've proposed. In fact, according to our neighboring township, Alpine, they have stated that they have never heard of an ordinance changes where it allows maintenance agreements to be executed by fewer than all parties. Allowing maintenance agreements to be executed by fewer than all parties affected takes away the majority vote from the residents, which is the foundation of institutions such as Plainfield Township. It's un-American. And it also holds property owners jointly and severely liable and responsible for maintenance, which stands unchanged, 28-258D. It also eliminates the entire road to be upgraded when parcels are added and allows conditional land division without full private road compliance. Call a spade here. Verizon helped write the new amendments so that they could pass their cell tower at 8245 Pine Island Drive, where last March all parcel owners on that private drive had a majority 5 out of 6 spoke out against it, which would require signatures from all party owners to pass, 28-254B. Under the new ordinance change, literally, you'd be screwing over 5 of the 6, or 83% of the neighbors on the private road that we own and that I have spent 14 years maintaining through skid steer rentals and by plowing snow with my quad, of which I've never asked for a dime, just did it to be neighborly. Verizon didn't comply with the ordinance due to the private road agreement in the Land Division Act. Plainfield Township passed it anyhow. So since it didn't meet the ordinance requiring signatures from all property owners, you're deliberately changing the ordinance, which will have an effect on other tax-paying residents in Plainfield Township, not just us. All serving estates are further encumbrances if this goes forward in Plainfield Township, whereas a specific limited use will be up for question. Our road agreement was to provide our neighbors with ingress and egress to family and friends and not designated for commercial use. I find your amendments egregious and will expand your bandwidth trying to govern. We found an alternative site with 118 contiguous acres a mile and a half away and still located in Plainfield Township, a site where you wouldn't need to modify the private road agreement ordinance and you didn't need to disguise an easement agreement to get around the Land Division Act where you were required to have 120,000 square feet, whereas Verizon only wanted 10,000 square feet, which fundamentally still serves as a commercial site in an all-residential area with the same lease terms. Now you want to ramrod the amendments by March 9th because the cell tower land use permit expires on March 25th per ordinance 29-04, where there is a one-year window. This is bad politics and policy, possibly collusion. Maybe you're simply worried about Verizon's muscle and their threats to file a lawsuit, but if this passes, then it's clear you certainly don't have the best intentions for the residents of Plainfield Township, and you certainly don't care about what effects or costs this will incur on the majority vote, whose lives it will affect the most. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can be next.
My name is Mike Wolfert. I live at 8255 Pine Island, and we live on that private road that we're talking about right now, and we have for 35 years. The road has served us well, and we as parcel owners have done what was needed to keep it in service. Any amendments affect all residents using private roads in Plainfield Township for ingress and egress. And I'm suggesting that there are several private roads in the township which has been in service for and functional for a number of years. These roads in existence prior to the amendments of 2022 need to be grandfathered in. And the new amendments need to pertain to private roads going forward, not backward. What's the old adage? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The new amendments are solely intended to appease Verizon's cell tower project by allowing Verizon access to a private road which currently they do not have. Verizon has no interest in any of the current residents who would be affected by the new amendments. Their only interest is in accessing location in a residential populated area. An alternative area has been suggested for the tower where it would be away from homes and access could be straightforward. This verges on the edge of contemptible if Plainfield Township adopts the proposed amendments for the sole satisfaction of Verizon. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Brent Fields, 849 Booth. I just wanted you guys to consider amongst you guys, it used to be for a long time the meeting started at 7 o'clock. Maybe that works better for you, but if somebody has a direct issue, they're gonna change your schedule. But somebody that just wants to come to the meetings to be engaged and involved, it's hard. I've been wanting to come here all day today. I'm like, I gotta go. So it's just hard to get here by 6. I don't know if it's hard for you guys, but consider maybe you get more interaction with the community if you'd make it just a little later, like 7 o'clock, like it used to be for years. And it hasn't been 6 o'clock very long, but it's tough to make it here, especially if you don't have any reason necessarily to come, other than you just want to engage with what's going on. So I just hope you guys maybe consider maybe going back to the old way. It's only once a month. It used to be twice a month, so it can be an inconvenience once a month for you. And I'm going to say this carefully. Somebody told me close by that in the area that Tom doesn't come to meetings in the wintertime because he stays in Florida. I don't think that's right either. If he's representing us as a supervisor, he should come to the meetings or Skype or something. Hopefully he's not getting paid to not come, but that's kind of surprised me. So I'm gonna leave that alone because I want you guys to leave me alone. So just gonna say that, but it should be talked about. He should come to the meeting once a month. I realize this is in Florida, but shouldn't do the job if he can't make the job. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, you're next.
Phil Edwards, 8319 Pine Island Drive.
One more time, please.
Phil Edwards, 8319 Pine Island Drive.
Thank you.
In my younger days, some of my coworkers told me never move to Plainfield Township. I found some rural preserve land with acreage in the country and forgot all about what they said. It was nice and quiet with no eyesores in a very, very country setting. I've been there 37 years. Now I realize after this past year why my coworkers told me to never move to Plainfield Township. Seems to be an authoritarian type municipal style government where the rules are set and changed for the benefit of very few at the expense of many. Over the years, we've spent thousands of dollars on this private shared drive. When the road needed a passing lane and more crushed concrete, whatever, we spent over $12,000. Every summer I've spent money and time to patch the holes in the road, not this past year. Why would I do it any longer when the township is giving both the Boss family and Verizon free rein? These amendments you're trying to pass were directed at us on the private shared driveway. The rules keep changing as we get near the goal line, so to speak. First, state law does not allow the split on the parcel as formulated, so it gets tweaked. Now we tell Verizon and none of the parties on this road agree to the tower, other than of course, the Boss family. So they call the township to change them immediately. No FOIA needed on that, is there, guys? Plainfield Township wasted no time. Someone's getting lots of money to break these rules for one homeowner and on a driveway in Verizon when another homeowner, probably between a half and a mile away, wants this. On a road, on a public road, no shared driveway, no homes in the shadow of this tower. Yet the township continues to work with Verizon and could care less about the people in this area. Why move it to another site that bothers few, if any? You tell me. You've not learned from PFAS, let alone the long-term effects of a cell phone tower so near and shadowing residents. Your planners have been working on this for 3 years now. The first 2, hush-hush. Even though the homes on the private driveways were built on the premise of rules and regulations that are already in place. Changing them now is like changing the rules in the middle of the game. The legality is pretty sketchy at best. They should have looked at the rules right off the start and realized this was wrong instead of breaking the rules, pushing it down our throats. The Boss family went to Verizon, and your planners jumped, not caring about anybody else or the proper guidelines. Unfortunately, if you have read the letter from our attorney, you can see by doing these amendments, the township is actually opening up more loopholes in the future. But I know you guys care less. With money changing hands, I have no idea why we are here today, because this was a done deal 3 years ago. No matter the rules and the regulations. If there's not money involved, I know you would vote today no and prove me wrong, but I don't think you can do that, no matter the rules. A big company gets your vote over the hardworking tax-paying residents of Plainfield Township. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? We'll close the public comment portion of our meeting and move on to the consent agenda. The next item is the consent agenda, and without any issues from the board, I seek a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to remove item F and G and table those
Remove item F and G.
off of the consent agenda.
Off of the consent agenda. So we have a motion on the floor. Is there a support for that motion?
I'd support that. I'd like more information.
And no comments, just a support for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And I've got to hear your voices. Let's have a roll call vote, please. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Hagedorn.
Yes.
Ms. Morrow.
Yes.
Mr. McKellar? Yes. Mr. Emminga?
Yes.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes, if we're yesing to remove it off the consent agenda.
And the motion carries. Is there
Carried, yep.
a motion to approve the agenda, the consent agenda as modified?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as modified.
And a support, please?
I'll support.
I didn't hear the voice.
Support.
Okay, as support by Remenga. And the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Ms. Morrow? Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff is gone. Mr. Emminga?
Yes.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
The consent agenda has been approved, and we'll move on to the next subject on the agenda item tonight. And we'll have Cameron's
So if we could,
explanation.
yeah, point of clarification, when we move those items from the consent agenda to new business, are we making them, adding them at the end? Where would we like to discuss them tonight?
Either wait until next month or discuss them tonight.
So what was the motion, to remove them?
Only to remove them. We
Okay,
didn't set.
so they are been moved to the new business.
No, they haven't been moved, they've been removed.
Agenda.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're clear that we're addressing the right order. So they have been removed from consent agenda but not moved to new business.
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, new business, item A. We're going to look at our 3-year road plan. I apologize, this popped up a little quickly. Road Commission didn't get a map of our 3-year plan, so we're going to look at the 26 road options, road maintenance plan that the Road Commission put together. And as the board recalls, as we were putting our budget together last fall, there was a lot of uncertainty about how much state revenue sharing would be coming towards Plainfield Township. And so we did decide to reduce the amount of road expenditures from $750,000 to $500,000 for this year. And at this time, I don't see any reason to increase that. There's no indication from the state that revenue will be higher than what we anticipated last fall at this point. My hope is that in the future we can restore this back up to that level, if not higher, because we will continue to see erosion in our overall quality of our roads if we don't continue to put enough money towards their repair. So for this year, we're at $500,000. Future years, I think we need to continue that goal of bringing that amount higher so that we can keep our local roads in good shape. Looking at this year's road plan, apologize, I have to get through the new software to the right spot. Okay, so this is the road list that the Road Commission has put together for this year, and we're really focused on, what the Road Commission really recommends is picking neighborhoods kind of contiguous so that we can get better bids, therefore saving money by having better bid prices from the contractors. So that's why they've really focused on areas in the Northview area this year. And that's consistent with, if you look at, I'm gonna pull up the Pacer map. Pacer is the road condition map throughout the township. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole township here. As you look at this map, you can see that we have a mix of, and my apologies, Jack, I don't pick the colors for this. For those who are colorblind, my apologies, red, green, and yellow. It probably looks like a mess to some people, but that's what's on here. It's an indication of road quality, and the green, obviously, for those who are familiar with the, stop, yield, go type of traffic signal, similar type of mentality here from the state of Michigan in terms of setting up Pacer ratings. You have road conditions, green, and they should have a little indicator at the bottom of this map. So the darkest green are in good condition. There's a Pacer rating scale from 0 or 1 to 10. 0 is basically it's decimated to nothing. 10 is brand new road, just repaved. So we have really over the years, we've been successful in taking a lot of our fair roads and making them good roads, but our poor roads are still poor roads. And some of that was it sounds bad, but some of that was intentional. It's a whole lot cheaper to take a fair road and make it a good road. You can cover a lot more miles that way than to reconstruct one bad road. And that was the approach we had taken before, and we'd find scenarios where one year we'd basically be able to knock one road off the list, and that's all our funding took us to. This way, we're able to cover a lot more miles more quickly, and so we have a map that is much more on the fringes of good roads and really bad roads, as opposed to a lot of fair conditioned roads. So you'll see a lot of green neighborhoods. Blythefield we had hit recently, and Safety Drive, and there's some other neighborhoods that have been hit in recent years that are now in a good category that weren't before. So one major area that we need to hit is the area known as the Hills and Dales neighborhood, and that's the area, the neighborhood's just off of Plainfield Avenue, basically between 4 Mile and Jupiter, if you can picture that area. So that's the area the Road Commission would like to focus on this year. And that's about the extent of our $500,000 will be matched dollar for dollar again by the Road Commission. So we're looking at about $1 million of road repair that will take care of this area in Northview this year. That will be the focus. Still working with Road Commission staff to provide an updated 3-year plan. And we moved to this model a few years ago to help our planning efforts, but also to help residents understand where their road may be on the road plan. We had a lot of calls, when's my road gonna get fixed? Moving to a 3-year plan helped residents understand it's either gonna get fixed in the next 3 years or not. And so at least addresses that question. We're working with the Road Commission to make sure we get that updated. One challenge we found is we put together a plan, but then if we have better bid prices than we anticipated, we can actually pull forward projects. So projects that were listed for the following year get pulled into that project year, and then the plan kind of gets a little bit off kilter. So they have to update it every once in a while. We're working with their staff to make sure we get an updated list there. But for this year, we're looking at, I'll pull up that road list again, list of roads in the Northview area, Hills and Dales neighborhood. If you can't visualize that, we did include some specific maps from the Road Commission. Very, very high tech. It looks like printout with a highlighter on it, but you know, it gets the job done. So these are some of the roads that they want to address this year. And in terms of how we're addressing them, if you really want to get into the details of road repair, some of these will be like a single course mill and fill. And what that means, you've got, when you have an asphalt road, you have 2 courses, 2 layers of asphalt. Most often the Road Commission will take off that top layer and then put down a fresh layer. It really depends on the quality of the road. They won't do that if the base layer is also damaged, so they'll evaluate it first and make sure that they're getting the best value out of the road repair. So that is the selection they brought to us this year, and I'm looking for the board's approval with a caveat. I'd really like the board to approve the expenditure of the $500,000. So throughout the year, if we get good prices and we find that we can add more to the list, I'd like to maximize that $500,000 and repair as many roads as possible. So that's my request for approval tonight.
Thank you. Are there any comments on this subject with anyone in the audience? Please come up to the microphone. That's okay. We need your name and address, please.
Jean Harrelson, Summit View.
We're on a recording, so you need to go to the microphone, please.
Harrelson on Summit View. I just wonder, like you did my street a couple years ago, and I'm noticing cracks through the street. Is there a better material that can be used, or how's that addressed? Do they come in and fill the patches?
Thanks, Jean. So the Road Commission, we work off of their expertise in terms of what's the right fix. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's what they call reflective cracking. So if there's defects in the base layer, like I said, there's 2 layers of asphalt. If there's defects in the base layer, even though you put a fresh layer on top, that crack will show up again. Some of it is something that tends to be more cosmetic than structural problem. And so that's where, even though that happens, the Road Commission is okay with that approach. It doesn't look great, but its durability will be preserved when they come through, and then they'll do something called a seal coat. So some people do this to driveways as well. Basically, you're putting a layer of a tar-like substance on top to keep the water out. And if you keep the water out, that crack won't grow. So the Road Commission has been much more aggressive in recent years to do more what they'll call a chip seal, when they put the little stones on it, and then a seal coat the Road Commission director loves to call it like waxing your car, right? So you're preserving the paint. That's the same kind of mentality they're taking with the roads here, to make sure that they preserve the road. And so, yes, I'm seeing that on some roads that they've done in recent years too, where that cracking starts to show up very quickly. And they are going through and assessing those roads every year and addressing which ones need to have that sealing done.
Is there anyone else that has comments or questions on this subject? Then we'll move to the Township Board for discussion on this subject. Oh, Mr. McKellar.
We need to make a pause. We need to back up. We did not approve the consent agenda and accounts payable.
With the, as adjusted.
As adjusted, right. So we need to back up before we move on.
Okay. Thank you to staff people who catch little things like we missed a motion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as modified
And the accounts payable.
and the accounts payable?
I make a motion
Mr. Hagedorn,
to approve the consent agenda and as modified and the accounts payable.
thank you. And is there support?
Support.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Hagedorn.
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow.
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Emminga.
Yes.
Mrs. Beatty.
Yes.
Okay, and back to the discussion about the roads. I apologize for the mix-up. Staff comments on this subject. Mr. Hagedorn?
I have no comments.
Mr. Remiga?
No comment.
And Mr. McKellar?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Why is it I who have all the only questions? Can a road go from red to green?
Yes. In fact, that's typically how it goes. When the road commission makes a repair, in every instance I've encountered, it immediately goes to the highest rating. If it doesn't, then there was probably a defect with the repair. So what typically happens, and I'll pull up that map again so we
That'd be
can look
great.
at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have this PACER rating map, and that helps us to guide road repairs. This doesn't always tell the full story because you'll see red and you'll see degrees of red, but the road commission will go out and say, look, it doesn't make sense for us to do a light fix on this. We need to do a full reconstruct, and that's going to cost considerably more than doing something different. So that's where they'll evaluate and try to stretch our dollars as far as possible. But every time they do any road, it should automatically flip to the darkest green.
Okay.
So, and what you'll see in this PACER rating, and I can make it a little bit bigger if it's hard to read, which I could understand.
Thank you.
So as you look at the road conditions, they have a 1 through 10 scale. A 10 is something that was just freshly paved, and it doesn't stay at 10 very long. It doesn't matter how good the job was. This is Michigan, right? Weather beats up roads. It's going to be a 9 the next year. No matter how good a repair they made, how well the contractor did building that road, it will degrade. That's just the nature of pavement in this environment. But it's a question of how fast does it slide from a 10 down to a 6 or 5, or does it stay in that good range longer? So yes, a poor road will turn into a good road. Fair roads can also turn to good roads. They can also take something that's maybe a 6 or 7 and do a chip seal on it and move it back up to a 10. So anytime they touch a road and improve it, it should go back up to a 10. It's just a question of what surface they put on it and how quickly will that degrade again back into a fair or possibly even into a poor category.
So the people who live on a green will not have any paving activity this summer? The solid green, number 10.
That should be true, yeah. So I carefully say that because this map was updated at the end of last year, so it should be fairly accurate, but sometimes some of their data doesn't quite get inputted at the end of the season. So I just want to put that caveat out there if someone is looking and relying solely on this map. They should look at the street itself. The other piece of that too, if they're doing this neighborhood, they'll see activity in their neighborhood, right? It may not be on their street, but there are some roads that due to other projects, even within this, so like we did some water main work. Also, the County Drain Commissioner just recently did some work on Holtman, and I think it was Vineyard coming up to Plainfield. And so there's some repaving that has already taken place in here that's probably not reflected on this map. So, yeah, if the road is in good shape, the road commission doesn't have any desire to go and spend more money on a road that's already in great shape. They want to take the dollars and make them go as far as possible.
Good. And continuing my questions, what is the communication with the people who will be affected by road
So the road commission.
improvements, I'll say?
Yeah, the road commission works with the contractors to give notification. One tricky part, to make sure that they are maximizing the dollar, when they bid out the work, they give the contractors as much flexibility in scheduling as possible. But the downside of that usually means, and they require the contractor give advance notice to the neighborhood, but I have seen it where the contractor comes just a matter of days before to tell people. So we, as a township, do our best to notify residents that, hey, it's coming this season, but we don't know when this season. And then it's up to the contractor to notify them more specifically, it's gonna be this week or this day, but that's outside of our control.
Okay. I'm all done then. Any discussion on the motion? Any more discussion? Do I have to do a roll call?
Let's do a roll call.
A roll call would be in order.
Let's
I'm
have a
sorry.
motion, please.
Yes, sir. You threw this at me at the last minute. I'm going to take, it's taking me a little while tonight. Jack, do you
I
have
make a motion that we approve the new 3-year road maintenance plan and an expenditure up to $500,000 for 2026 road maintenance projects.
And a support?
Support.
And the clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Morrow.
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Emminga.
Yes.
Ms. Beatty.
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. And moving on to the next subject. Mr. Cameron, this is going to be our favorite subject tonight.
Okay, so the next two actions here are related to the Plainfield Corridor Improvement Authority. And this is gonna take a little bit of explanation because it looks like we're gonna undo what we did just a little less than a year ago. And that's exactly what we're gonna do tonight. So as we started this process, we got the train rolling, and then as the attorneys were digging through the paperwork, realized we needed to actually come and take a few steps back. We had a Corridor Improvement Authority established back in 2006. It was under our impression that had expired, and so we were starting a new one. Attorney said, actually, it runs through the end of 2026, so it's still in existence. So we had to do one of two things. One, either dissolve that one and create a new one, or dissolve the new one, work with the old one to expand it. And it's advantageous for the Corridor Improvement Authority to use the old framework and build off of that as opposed to starting fresh. And the reason is the way that corridor improvement authorities are funded, they take something called tax capture, increment financing. So they're capturing a portion of tax dollars that these properties are already paying, and it would be the tax dollars that are paid to Plainfield Township, to Kent County, and to Grand Rapids Community College. And for various legal state law reasons, it's basically down to those three entities, taxing entities. These property owners don't pay more tax. They're just having a portion of the tax they're already paying taken and set aside for a separate use, and that use is to improve the corridor and make improvements that, in theory, will boost the property values of the corridor. That's the intent of the authority. In effect, it will also, should, if it's effective, help in business attraction and retention for the Plainfield Avenue corridor and make for a generally better environment for the community. So to do that, using the old framework actually moves them up in that tax capture phase because now we're working off of a tax base year of 2006 as opposed to 2026. And so that means that there is growth in taxable value in that last 20 years that can be captured and then put into projects on Plainfield Avenue, which is our intended goal here, to have this resident group be able to take dollars and put them into investment to benefit the community. So I'm asking you to undo some of what we already did. And so step one on item B tonight is to consider a resolution to dissolve the new corridor improvement authority that we created last April. And then the following step, should you choose to do that, is to consider a resolution to appoint members to that prior CIA board. And so we have a list of folks there too. Now, with that, since our goal is to get to what we had put together last spring, the plan is to take the old Corridor Improvement Authority, which was a smaller geography, and expand it to the geography that we had talked about last year. So temporarily, we'll have a smaller number of board members because it's a smaller geography. Then after we take multiple steps, we can expand that geography and add the other board members back in. So the list of board members that you'll see tonight, that's intended to be temporary until we can take those further actions. And according to our attorney, all of this should be wrapped up by midsummer.
Is there, can you explain a reason for any kind of a consolidated, how did this all have to come about?
So, as I was saying before, because the old Corridor Improvement Authority still was in existence, we had to take one of two actions, either dissolve the old one, or option B is what we're doing, dissolve the new one and work with the old one. And so that is advantageous to our goals of advancing Plainfield Avenue as a business attraction corridor to take the old one and work with that format.
Thank you. I think having you explain that twice in a little bit different terms perhaps answered some questions. But we'll move to the board for board. Have we had public comments on this subject?
We have not yet.
So we'll move to this public comments on the subject of the rearrangement of Plainfield Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to go to the microphone and make any comments on these changes? Seeing none, we'll move to the board discussion on this subject. You're all saying, please don't call on me first. Let's start with Mr. McKellar.
I'm all set. I understand it. I understand why.
That's good move. Mr. Reminga.
I understand, like the chief, I understand it as well.
Good. Ms. Spading?
I just appreciate you explaining all of that, Cameron. That was a challenge. I don't have any questions. I get it.
Mr. Hagedorn?
I spent some time with you this morning, and my understanding was different than what you just explained, but I'm afraid to say it, but I'm going to anyway. The Corridor Improvement Authority has what's known as a base year, which is the year in which taxes are recorded as a beginning point. Is that correct? Okay. The old Corridor Improvement Authority has a base year of 2006. The new one will have a base year of 2026. Is that correct? The way you explained it to me this morning was that, in essence, we now have two Corridor Improvement Authorities, one with a base year of 2006 and the other with a base year of 2026. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, I got into more detail in our conversation this morning. Okay. That's not really pertinent to tonight's action. It will come back to you in a couple of months. So as a part of explaining before, working with the framework of the existing Corridor Improvement Authority allows us to go, as you referred to, that 2006 base year. But then we'll take that and expand it to the boundaries that we had intended a year ago. And in doing that, is just as you had said, basically is going to have two different boundaries. And really, it will only be pertinent to the assessor and the treasurer. But in terms of how to allocate that tax capture, but we'll have two different geographies for tax capture, but we'll have one geography ultimately in terms of a CIA board and area where they can make improvements. So from a public perspective, it will be one geography. Behind the scenes, there'll be two layers to it from a tax capture perspective, yes.
I just wanted to make sure that what you explained to me this morning was still the same. So thank you.
And I wondered, we don't by any chance, maybe we don't even need it, but I was wondering if seeing the two maps would have made a difference to us tonight to understand it a little bit? Or not?
I don't know if that would have made much difference because the material difference is the timing less the geography.
Oh, okay.
Less than the geography, or more so than the geography. The geography maybe makes sense to some people. It matters a whole lot more for item C than for item B.
Okay.
When we get to that one.
And really, the first CIA didn't get very far in beginning to make some kind of significant changes along Plainfield Avenue. So we really don't have something to point to that it will affect, because it's going to be rolled over into something larger and more exciting. And
Yeah, the timing of the first effort was not advantageous because it was set, the base year was set just before the recession. And that recession pushed property values on Plainfield Avenue down far enough that there was no tax capture for a number of years. And because there was no capture, the board became inactive. We had a tax sharing agreement with Kent County that had expired, and it was everyone's understanding that the Corridor Improvement Authority itself had expired. But as our attorneys reviewed the documents, that wasn't actually the fact.
so we're ready to clean it all up.
Correct.
Okay, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to adopt resolutions to abolish CIA number 2 and appoint a board to CIA number 1 as presented.
Is there a support?
Support.
And the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Eminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes,
Mr. McKellar, yes. Motion carried.
thank you. And moving on to the next subject, would you like to bring us up to date?
Yeah, I did want to make sure everyone was clear that Kathy's motion was item B and C simultaneously. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. Do you feel that you need to vote on C separately before we move on? Okay. Understanding that both resolutions were included with that motion, we'll move on to item D, which is a resolution for authorize an installment purchase agreement for a new fire engine. So our fire chief made the presentation to you last meeting. That was the fun part, was talking about a new fire engine. Now's the less fun part, how we're gonna pay for it. So we're gonna shift that to our finance director. So Adam's with us tonight. Make sure your microphone is on. And Adam, why don't you talk a little bit about what we're doing tonight and what the implications are.
Okay, so what we are doing tonight is the board is approving a resolution for us to form an installment, it's called an installment purchase agreement. It's very akin to a loan. If you've ever gotten a car loan or something like that, it's gonna work pretty much the same way. It's a little more flexible than your car loan in terms of payment timing. However, the new fire truck is smaller, in terms of dollar amount than like a bond, so it doesn't make sense for us to issue a bond. We actually did a request for quote to a number of financial institutions in the area to make sure we were getting the best rate. And so Macatawa came back with what was essentially 4.05%. It's actually tied to the 3-year U.S. Treasury plus 0.5%. So it can fluctuate depending on when it actually is, the documents are executed. But that's essentially what we're doing. It is a 3-year term. What it kind of allows us to do is spread this purchase over a number of years rather than having to use our reserves, another $1.5 million to fund the purchase of this truck, which would really start to put our reserves really close to the bottom limits of our fund balance policy. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're asking the board to approve tonight.
Thank you, Adam. Is there anyone in the public who would like to comment on this subject? We'll move on to board members' discussion of it. Mr. McKellar, would it be appropriate for you? He used to be the fire chief. You can explain it first.
I haven't explained
it. I
I
know.
don't know finances.
There are good things and there are lots of good things about this plan.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
With the interest rates and stuff that you're projecting, they'll still stay within the 1.5 mil?
You're talking the 0.5 mil for capital improvements that the board
No,
sets
what
up?
we approved, I'm sorry.
Oh, 1.5 million, yes.
For 1.5
So
million, even with
the
the
truck
interest.
itself will be 1.5 million. The interest would be on top of that. So the township will pay a little bit more for financing it over 3 years than they would paying cash.
And we don't have a locked-in price on this vehicle yet?
Kyle, did you get?
Not today, I'm expecting the next couple days.
It should be the 1.5 million.
Okay. I'm good.
Mr. Reminga?
I was very impressed with the chief's presentation on that truck. I'm a car guy, and so this stuff just fascinates me. And I did look into it a lot, and I think it's the most practical apparatus for the area we're in. We don't have skyscrapers and such. And just one question, does that include floor mats? Oh, boy, cup holders. Okay. We'll take some pop bottles back and maybe back you up. But no, I'm really impressed with the whole thing.
Thank you. Jack?
My assumption, also there are additions that will be put on the truck after we get it. So those additions will also be included in the loan. Is that correct?
So this loan, what you're authorizing today, is up to $1.5 million. Anything beyond that would be paid for out of the township's funds. So in our kind of 5-year capital plan, we were projecting this truck to cost $2.5 million. Through the hard work done by Kyle and his team, they were able to find a manufacturer who would offer us a vehicle at a savings of up to $1 million from that. But it's kind of the base truck, so there's kind of about an estimated $200,000 of kind of outfitting the truck that will come after that. So once everything is kind of all stabilized and we have like set dates and everything, we will come back to the board with kind of the required budget adjustments to recognize the revenue of this loan and increase the capital outlay fund for this year to recognize the purchase of the entire truck and outfitting of the truck this year and next year. And then the remaining payments will just be the loan payments going forward.
Thank you. Any other questions? And my question, I have a feeling that people are going to say, how can this be? And I think it deserves the people in the audience understand a little bit about buying the change in the type of vehicle that we're going to get. Should we turn to Kyle or should we? Would you like to?
The cost savings?
Yes.
So essentially, what our fire department has done is said that if we were to replace our ladder truck with a similar ladder truck, it'd be about a $2.5 million purchase. We don't need that size of apparatus. We can do something a little bit smaller, hopefully a little bit more nimble, and so that's a little bit cheaper product than a full replacement. On top of that, they've done a good job of shopping around, been able to basically take advantage of someone else's. Think about it. Someone put a fire truck in their Amazon cart and then abandoned their cart. That's basically what we have here. Someone put an order in for a truck and then went a different direction. We'll take that truck. So that's how we can move ahead a little bit faster in terms of timeline. We just received our last fire engine last 2 weeks ago. And that one took forever to get here. Yeah, and that one, that's the process ordering from start to finish. We're jumping ahead in line because we're basically taking over someone else's order that they've abandoned. So that's also led to some of the savings as well.
And that's a lot of the work that the fire department's team that Kyle had working on this whole thing. We knew we needed the truck, and they went out and found something totally different and saved us $1 million. Is there any more discussion from the board? I'll seek a motion. Would be in order.
I'll make the motion to recommend the approval of a resolution to authorize an installment purchase agreement.
Second.
For the new fire truck. Okay.
Yeah.
And the support came from?
Jack.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Remiga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
and Mr. McKellar, yes.
And moving on to our supervisors' comments.
Deputy Superintendent's comments.
Oh, superintendent.
Just give me a hard time. A couple items to share with you tonight. First of all, big thanks to our facilities management staff for their efforts in snow removal over the last month. They've made sure that facilities are clear, our libraries, our senior center, our town hall, but also some of the public spaces that downtown Comstock Park, the big parking lot there, but also we've started plowing along Plainfield Avenue to clear those sidewalks, and we do see a lot of people using that area as well. And so we appreciate their work, especially in this really bitter cold, colder than a lot of people have recognized for a while. So appreciate that effort. Couple of updates for you on everyone's favorite subjects, tax bills. Tax bills are typically due February 14. You get a couple days of grace this year. They are due February 17 due to President's Day, so they get moved back. So if you haven't paid them yet, don't delay, but you do get till February 17. And we do have a new pay platform. We've moved to a system called Pay It. It's the same system that the City of Grand Rapids is using. And our auto pay should be going live later this week. We had a couple of delays on that on the vendor's end that were unfortunate. We thought it would be running by now, but it should be going live this week. And we've actually seen a good adoption of use so far. So people are appreciating that ability to pay online, working to make it convenient and more affordable to make these kind of payment options available for tax bills and for utility bills. So if you're unfamiliar with that, you can go on our website and learn more. That's all I have.
Mr. Hagedorn.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Remiga.
I'm good.
Mr. McKellar.
I'm good.
Kathy.
Well, I will just say I appreciate this meeting. I appreciate the board, the work that the staff does. We live in an era of assumptions and accusations, and I think we need more communication and heart-to-heart talks. So I just appreciate this board. I appreciate Plainfield Township. I appreciate the work, the staff. They work very, very hard, and they're very, very good. So I appreciate especially our finance guy, and of course our fire chief. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And I too wanted to be sure to compliment our staff, the ones that are working inside as well as outside. It's been a real challenge with the new webpage and new pay it. And all sorts of positive things. The work that the fire department team did to save us $1 million is a brand new technique for us to function financially, and that we're all going to be excited about that. And the new fire truck is here after 3 years of waiting and waiting. We're not going to have that problem again. There are all sorts of good, positive things being done by good people. And that's all I have to say for tonight. No. And being no more business to come before the board, the meeting's adjourned.